quizzing people on their sports trivia knowledge.
That was very interesting, Tyler. So I'm Sam Mendelsohn, and today I'm here with my boy James Buchanan Gallagher. And with the NFL draft being a little bit more than a week away, today we're going to give you our top 10 mock draft. I'm going to take odds, James is going to take evens. So with the first pick in the draft, I'm going to start it off. The Carolina Panthers select C.J. Stroud, quarterback out of Ohio State. James, what's your thoughts on this one?
You know, I really like C.J. Stroud going number one, especially over Bryce Young, but we'll get to him in a minute. When I look at C.J. Stroud, he's taller. I think he has the big game capability that I didn't get to see out of Young at Alabama.
Are you concerned about his improvisation skills?
Not really. I feel like that's something we can work on if he gets into the league and struggles a little bit.
I'm just a little concerned, too, because he has the skills in his repertoire, but he's decided not to use it for some reason. Like in the Georgia game, he showed his mobility, but it wasn't consistent enough.
I agree with that, but you also got to think, you were up 14 at one point. Do you really want to risk going out, taking a hit, getting hurt, and not being able to be there for your team at the end of a game?
I do agree with that.
Okay. Now, moving on to the Houston Texans at number 2, we have them selecting Bryce Young, quarterback, Alabama. What are your thoughts on this guy?
I know this is going to make you mad. He's Mini Mahomes.
You got to stop with this stuff about
He is Mini Mahomes.
He's not Mini Mahomes.
He is Mini Mahomes.
He is 5'10".
He is a combination of Drew Brees, Joe Burrow, and Mahomes.
Okay, maybe Drew Brees because he's 5'10". But you can't be throwing out Joe Burrow names just like that.
He just has it. He has the it factor, just something you can't coach.
Okay. You know, I'll give you that one. You might have that it factor.
And about his size, I'm not too concerned about passes getting batted down in the NFL. I will give you the size concern, though. He is around 185 pounds. He came in at the combine, at 200 pounds, but that's a lot of water weight. We all know that. I'm just concerned about his durability and being able to stay healthy, taking big hits from linemen. But he does protect his body, which I like.
That's always a good thing out of small quarterbacks.
So next, we're going to go to the third pick. We're going to have the Arizona Cardinals selecting edge Will Anderson Jr. out of Alabama. So you, as a diehard Cardinals fan, I want to ask for your opinion on this pick.
You know, my Cardinals, we're struggling, like, really bad. DeAndre Hopkins wants out. Budda Baker wants out.
Just everybody wants out.
I think we should trade this pick, but we can't do that. I think Will Anderson can be the future. He can come in, dominate. My only concern, a little bit undersized, and he's not very athletic.
I am concerned about that too, but 17.5 sacks as a junior in the SEC is impressive.
Very impressive, especially going up against quarterbacks like Hendon Hooker and Stetson Bennett.
Your favorites.
Oh, love them both. Moving on to the Indianapolis Colts, we have them selecting Anthony Richardson, quarterback, Florida. What are your thoughts on this guy before I get into
To me, he's more of an athlete than a passer. I don't like his footwork in the pocket. I don't like his decision making, and his completion percentage was extremely low, which scares me. It was around 53%.
Yeah, but I think, you know, some great Florida quarterbacks that come to mind, like the likes of Tim Tebow.
How about Kyle Trask?
Kyle Trask, no, not really. But I really like the athleticism I see out of him and the arm talent. I don't disagree. Footwork, completion percentage, very important things to worry about. But those are all things we can fix in a quarterback. The one thing you can't teach is a good arm.
You can't teach a good arm too, but to me, it's just like he's too risky. I just don't see it.
He'll be just fine there in Indianapolis.
Next, we're going to go to the fifth pick. We're going to have the Seattle Seahawks selecting Tyree Wilson. He is a big edge, 80-inch six-armed wingspan, 6'6". He's fast, but he's not too bendy. That's my problem with him.
You know, I agree with you. He's very quick to get into the quarterback, but he can get stiff in rushing the passer. But 275 pounds, that does qualify him as a big boy getting around that edge.
And he's fast.
Very. Moving on to the Detroit Lions. I really like this pick for them. They're going Jalen Carter. What are your thoughts, though, of him off the field?
I actually think Detroit is a perfect landing spot for him. If anybody can get him right, it's Dan Campbell. He knows how to get players in the right mindset. It's just the culture he has built there. Like, Jalen Carter's going to want to run through a wall for Dan Campbell.
Are you concerned, though, about how he looked at his pro day, his workout, after the incident off the field?
To be fair, I'm not too concerned about it now.
You're not too
I think
concerned?
he can easily get back into shape.
Okay.
So at number 7, we have my guy, my personal favorite player in the draft. The Las Vegas Raiders select Devon Witherspoon, an absolute dog, cornerback from Illinois. He runs your route for you.
Your guy? I think he should be our guy. Come on now. I love this kid.
I showed you his tape.
You did show me his tape, but he's quick to get into the ball. I agree, does run those routes for those receivers.
He's also just a smart corner.
Very. I agree.
He reminds me of Sauce Gardner. I think he's going to have an impact like that as a rookie, and he's my early favorite to win Defensive Rookie of the Year.
That's some high praises for just a young rookie. Now let's move on to the Atlanta Falcons, which is a very interesting team coming into this NFL draft. We have them selecting Christian Gonzalez, cornerback, Oregon. Now, I feel like this is a good pick for them because they just last week traded for Jeff Okuda, who's going to play the slot for him, and they have a young star in A.J. Terrell, and that secondary was bolstered in free agency with the signing of Jesse Bates.
I do agree. He will be an excellent. Their cornerback duo of A.J. Terrell and Gonzalez on the outside has potential to be the best in the NFL. To me, Gonzalez, he's a great athlete, but sometimes in coverage he tends to get beat deep. But he does have a good, he tends to get beat deep.
Well, I feel like with a guy like Jesse Bates back there to help you, I feel like that's nothing to worry about, you know?
It is a little bit to worry about, but I do like his closeout. Like on slants, his closeout, he's there. He closes out very quickly, and he creates a lot of interceptions because of the closeout.
Okay.
At pick 9, we have the Chicago Bears selecting Paris Johnson Jr., tackle Ohio State. To me, he just fits a Ryan Poles. He fits what Ryan Poles likes in offensive lineman. He has 36.5-inch arms.
Those are some very big arms, and especially when you get to the NFL, you got to have those long arms to protect your quarterback, basically. And you know what I like is his ability to play both tackle positions. I think that's something that the Chicago Bears are going to have to explore after taking a left tackle last year.
I agree with you. He's going to be a plug-and-play day-one starter at right tackle.
Okay, now let's move on to, of course, probably the pick everyone's been waiting to hear, the Philadelphia Eagles. We have them taking the Swiss Army knife of the offensive line, Peter Skoronski, O-lineman out of Northwestern.
Personally, this is just such an inspirational man. But besides his inspirational, he can play any position on the O-line. He's a hard worker. And the one thing I am concerned about him is he is a little bit on the short side with 32.5-inch arms, which I don't know if he could play tackle in the NFL. On film, when he goes against longer edge rushers, he tends to get beat. But I think he's going to be a perennial all-pro guard for years.
Yeah, but if you're the Eagles, you got Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson at tackle. You don't even need to worry about
Lane
really
Johnson's
playing that
getting
guy.
old.
He's getting a little old.
You can slot him in there once Lane Johnson retires.
But what about Jason Kelsey? That's been a guy I feel like for years now we've been talking about him maybe retiring. Do you think that's where he should ultimately end up going?
I ultimately think they'll end up moving Cam Jurgens, who's currently starting at guard inside the center, to replace Kelsey, and then they can place Skoronski in Jurgens' position and get an all-pro guard for years to come.
That's very nice.
So thank you guys for tuning in. That was our top 10 mock draft, and tune into the NFL draft next week, next Thursday, and find out if our predictions are correct. Thank you again.